And now for breaking news, we go over to a press conference with the Boeing CEO, David Calhoun, and his recent remarks on Alaska Airlines Flight 1282.
Yes, after an exhaustive investigation into the cause of this, we have determined that the aircraft's speed tape was a total failure on Flight 1282, which is a 737 MAX 9. But I am happy to report that we have now solved that issue due to the fact that he is going to have a lot more free time now. We're just going to plug the holes with Chris Christie's fat ass.
Coming at you from the Skyhammer Studios here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. This is the El Donzo and Dee Show.
You have insanity in my earpiece.
I'm El Donzo.
I'm Deez.
And we have a lot of insanity in the old earpiece today.
You almost forgot your cue, didn't you?
I almost did. I was laughing so hard at the cold
open. I was
open.
watching you. I'm like, is he going to say it?
I was laughing so hard at the cold open. You know, we try to do a cold open on every show, a different one. Every now and again, you know, if we've got a classic in the bag, we'll reuse it. But we try to do a new one on every show. And I already had this cold open laid out, and I got to hand it to Deez. He heard it, and he's like, stop, erase it. I got one better. And so it was born. And you know, I have humility. If I know somebody's got a better idea than me, I'll go ahead and take it and run with it. And Deez, I got to hand it to you. It was far better than mine was.
You know, we try and keep it a current event type thing, and what better way to do it than to cram two into one cold
I
open,
agree, and
you
you
know?
did it. You did it perfectly. You did it perfectly. Hey, before we get going, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor for the show, EnviroSeal. Okay, you hear me say this every week. I'm going to say it again, but I'm going to emphasize it. These guys are the best at jacking up concrete slabs that are sunken in. Okay? Never mind all the other guys you hear on the radio or see on TV. EnviroSeal is the best at it. They use polyurethane foam, and they go and pump up the slabs. So they also, when they do this, you can use those slabs the same day that they do it. Okay? So sunken, let's say, patios, driveways, maybe even sidewalks if you got them. Give those guys a call at 309-275-6303. Now, they also use that polyurethane spray foam insulation, and they can insulate commercial and residential buildings with it as well. So once again, EnviroSeal, give those guys a call, 309-275-6303. Now, for the highlight of the week, the most important news story of the week. We get to it right now. Deez, what in the hell have you been doing the past 7 days?
As little as possible. Again, like I said.
Why would today be different than any other?
Right. You know, like I said last week, this is my Christmas season because it's football playoffs. We had Michigan winning the national championship in a really good game. And then, like, the last few days have just been one great piece of news after another. We had Nick Saban retiring. Bill Belichick is leaving New England. Like, I'm a happy guy. Tired today because I didn't sleep for crap last night, but the news of Bill Belichick being gone from the Patriots brought a smile on my face, even though I know he's going to go somewhere else and coach.
So you weren't a big Belichick fan?
Look, as I'm a Steeler fan, and New England has been that thorn in our side for so long that Brady left and they started to get bad. And now, you know, the empire has completely crumbled. So yeah, good day for D's.
So we've got a lot of news. A lot of stuff has happened this week. And we've been saying this for a couple years now. It always seems like lately, especially with social media and access, internet access to all these news sites, there's always so much news popping off. But we have some interesting things. Of course, Epstein, there was another document dump with pics this time that happened since the last show.
There's been a few, actually.
There has been a few, and now some names are getting let out there. No hardcore evidence yet. We're gonna get into that on the show. Of course, Hunter Biden, another one we have to talk about. He's being held in contempt of Congress. He showed up to the congressional hearing this week, and that went awry. And he actually fled when Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to start questioning him. Did you see that?
No, but I do know they also had to make a court appearance in California on the tax evasion
No,
charges.
no, we're going to get into this story.
Oh.
This wasn't because, look at the time, I have to go. It was, holy sticks, I got to get out of here. It was bad. And then, of course, Alaskan Airlines, the door blowing off of that thing.
That reminds me of the old George Carlin skit where it's like a 15-minute diatribe on airline announcements. And one of them was, in the unlikely event of a sudden change of cabin pressure,
All right.
roof flies off.
So the thing about the Alaskan Airlines was it was a door plug that was put on this 737, and it blew out. And thankfully, nobody died. They were at 16,000 feet. If they'd have been at like high altitude, like 32,000 feet, like everybody could have been dead.
And nobody was sitting in that row.
And nobody was sitting in that row. They found the plane behind a teacher's house, and they found one of the passengers' cell phones. Excuse me, they found one of the passengers' cell phones flew out. Now, I was reading this story, and what's really weird, you want to talk about Boeing not having their sticks together. Did you know that in the event of a depressurization on their airplanes, the cockpit door automatically opens?
No.
Oh, yeah. And the pilot, nobody else knew that either. So when this happened, the door to the cockpit flew open and they couldn't close it. So all the wind and the depressurization is hitting the pilots. Now, I got a question for you. What if some guy goes in there with a bomb, gets on a plane with a bomb, because all of our sky marshals are now working the border, handing out bottles of water and sticks like that. What if somebody blows part of a plane apart and now they can get into the cockpit? Let's just put it this way. Alaska Airlines wasn't too happy about this.
I'm just glad that the door blew off and created some ventilation, because I would imagine that many of those passengers probably pooped their pants.
I'm going to tell you right now, my friend, I would have filled my drawers had I been on that plane, because I don't like flying anyway. There's a movie out that's going to be coming out in February called No Way Up. Did you see that? There's something about a plane that crashes in the Pacific Ocean and goes underwater, and they're left in an airlock in the back of the plane, and there's sharks trying to eat them. Ugh, creeps me out. Gives me the keeps, man. Gives me the keeps. Okay, so
I have a shark story for you.
We just later. We need to get through the show before Aldonzo has nightmares. Okay, next big thing, and this ties into the cold open for the show. Chris Christie, just a couple days ago, announced that he was dropping out of the race. Did you see this?
No, but I heard it.
Chris Christie was sitting at 3%.
You didn't get my joke.
No, I didn't.
He dropped. I heard it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, I saw what you did there. Wah, wah, wah. So anyway, Chris Christie's out of the Republican race, and wow, you know what? He was giving it all he had, which really wasn't a whole lot considering Chris Christie. My thing with this is Chris Christie's getting out of the race. He makes this big to-do about, I knew in 2008 when it was time to get out, and I knew it was time to get out now, and he acts almost like he's surprised that he's not getting anywhere with this. What kind of... The gall of this guy. Now, something else that, not just him dropping out, but something that he had said was he was caught on a hot mic pretty much going after DeSantis and Nikki Haley. And he said on the hot mic before this happened, before he announced, that Nikki Haley is going to get smoked by Donald Trump. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
Except for in Vermont or wherever it is, she's doing well.
But if you remember, Chris Christie always came to Nikki Haley's defense and all this Nikki Haley this and Nikki Haley that, and stop picking on Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley's going to be a fart in the wind as well. Now, she is doing a little bit better in Iowa, but the numbers are still out. Donald Trump's leading them by 61% in the spread. He's still beating Biden. There is some speculation, and this is speculation, that Donald Trump may pick Nikki Haley to be his running mate. We talked about that about a week ago.
Wouldn't necessarily be a bad pick strategically.
Now he's come out and says he's starting to like Chris Christie. Now, I don't know.
That's him being a troll.
That's him being a troll, but yeah. I tell you what, I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump one bit. I wouldn't I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
he's
zero chance.
He just came out on Thursday and said he's already got his VP picked. Okay, and I don't think it's going to be either one of them. I think it's going to be Noam. He's already got his VP picked. But I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be shocked if Donald Trump called Chris Christie and asked him to be his running mate. And I'll tell you why. Because it would just rub it in Chris Christie's face. I don't think he'd really take him, but I wouldn't put it past him calling him up and asking him.
No, it'd be stupid to take him. I mean,
oh, absolutely, nobody go for it. But I could just see Donald Trump doing something like that. And of course, Trump's back in the news too. This is something that we didn't touch on earlier in this segment. But this thing going on with Fani Willis and this prosecutor she hired down in Georgia may get potentially the whole case thrown out. We're going to get into that later on the show too. Now, what was his name? Nathan Wade, which is the prosecutor that Fani Willis hired to go after Trump. Turns out she's boinking the guy and paying him $650,000 a year, and they're taking vacations on it. So there's a kickback scheme here while they're trying to prosecute Donald Trump on RICO charges.
That's how OJ got off.
This is, well,
It's just
but it's
Marcia
not.
Clark and
Yeah, but you know what?
Sweat.
It's not how Stormy Daniels got off. I can tell you that much right
Well,
now.
if she was with Donald Trump, there's a pretty good chance she didn't get off at all.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. That's what they say. Now, here's the other thing. We're running out of time, but we have some news about Anthony Fauci. Now, it's not news to us, the facts, but it's actually news what Anthony Fauci said. Anthony Fauci. So we're going to get into that. The smack in the face of America that we're going through right now on the El Donzo and D show on 6. I'm El Donzo.
I'm Deez.
And we were talking in the last segment, I wanted to get into this. Anthony Fauci admitted, okay? Now, if we go back to the pandemic when Trump had, which was one of Trump's, look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be clear about it. Trump wasn't perfect. No president is. Fauci was the biggest stain on his presidency. I'd have to say the biggest stain on his presidency. Now, I get it. He's encountered this pandemic. He's encountered this the Kung flu, whatever you want to call it. People are afraid they're going to be dying. He's getting all these reports from the NIH. This is going to be deadly. It's a lot of pressure. He doesn't know what to do. I get it. I give him a pass on this, okay? But if you really want to go after who ruined the country, who shut down the bars, who shut down the restaurants, who shut down the churches, who shut down the strip clubs, who canceled school for millions of children, harmed their education, harmed their development, it was Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci was the architect of this. Now, it's just come out that Anthony Fauci, pretty much this whole 6-foot social distancing thing. Now, if you'll remember, the 6-foot social distancing deal was the reason why we shut the schools down and went to remote learning, was the reason why we had so many bars and restaurants end up going bankrupt, losing money.
Anybody with more than 7 brain cells could have figured out that 6-foot thing was a total crap.
Oh, absolutely. And we said
like
it when
the virus is like, oh, crap.
We said it when this was happening. This is bull sticks.
Yeah. You're lucky you're 6 feet 1 each away, or I'd get you sick right now.
Well, here's another one. Well, and before we go into that, my point to this, he's just coming out and saying it now with impunity. He's like, yeah, well, it really just kind of came out of nowhere. What, it just came out of nowhere? Didn't Anthony Fauci say he was the science? Didn't he say that? He was the science.
I believe, yes.
Trust the science. There's no science to this. It's no different than somebody shooting from their hip. Make them up as you go. That's exactly what they did. He also said that the lab leak wasn't a conspiracy theory. They admitted that behind closed doors that the lab leak was likely where the Wuhan virus came from. The Kung flu. I said it, and I don't give a sticks. I said the Kung flu. COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. Now, remember the masks? Oh, these people wearing masks. You gotta have a mask on.
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay, here's the other thing. He said this in an email. This came out along with this. Of course, Rand Paul is raking this guy over the coals. I can't thank Rand Paul enough for grabbing him by the short and curlies and squeezing every ounce of information and guilt out of this guy. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's not when they're lying to you that you have to worry. It's when they start telling the truth. It's when they start actually admitting stuff and just coming out, yeah, we did it. What are they going to do to Anthony Fauci? What do you think they're going to do, Deez?
Probably nothing, at least not for a while. Now, maybe if things change come November and then into January, they might have a little more pull to go after him as they should. But, I mean, if Rand Paul has his way, he'll be under the jail, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Anthony Fauci he is the highest paid government employee. Anthony Fauci makes more money in a year than I've spent in 2 decades. That I've spent living. Not living great, not living in the lap of luxury, not flying first class on airplanes and taking vacations to the Bahamas or to Australia or exotic places. They literally pay him more money than you and I combined have spent in 2 decades. And that even includes your prior recreational activities. Those was the days. We didn't. Eldonzo and Deez never really cared for cocaine, but we did like the smell of it. No, that's a joke. Kind of. No, it's a joke. Probably shouldn't say that. It's family show. Anyway, moving on. But I wanted to get that off my chest. I'm really pissed off about this. Not because we didn't see it, we didn't know it was happening, but just like I said, the impunity that Anthony Fauci now thinks he's bulletproof. How about your buddy Howard Stern? Have you heard about him?
Yeah, he'll never leave the house again after this.
There's words I want to say, but I can't say them on air about Howard Stern. It starts with a C and ends with a T, is how I really think of Howard Stern. Right? So Howard Stern... Coconut. That's it. Yeah, yes. Really good. I like what you did there. So Howard Stern locked himself in his home, hunkered down because he didn't want to get
for nearly COVID. 2 years.
For nearly 2 years.
Almost cost him a divorce.
Got every vaccine, every booster he could get his stupid hands on, didn't he now?
Mm-hmm.
And it just came out last week that he got COVID-19.
Yeah, they were on vacation. They were supposed to come back right after New Year's or whatever, and he didn't. And turns out the reason he didn't is because he contracted COVID. So I'm sure he's blaming that on Beth, his wife, and now again he'll lock himself up in his basement and he'll never go to the studio again. Good.
Hopefully he doesn't get in front of a microphone again, because he used to be such an entertaining guy to listen to.
Yeah.
But his COVID rants.
Even before COVID, the last 10 years, Howard, he's just completely fallen off. Like, he's just not entertaining. The only entertaining aspect of his show are the people that work for him. And then, again, once 2020 hit, it just you might as well watch The View, because that's basically what Howard Stern became.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
It's what his show turned into. He used to be a shock jock, the king of all media. Didn't give 0 F's about anything. And now you got this guy, oh, COVID, oh no, I'm going to die, I can't go out of my house. What? You're part of the problem, Howard. Really?
Yeah.
You're part of the damn problem. Anyway, okay, so now what I want to get into, I can't wait, the Hunter Biden deal. Did you look much into this?
Again, I've seen headlines and...
So just yesterday, he showed up for a House committee hearing, okay, and this is a pending resolution to hold him in contempt of Congress.
And he wasn't supposed to be there, correct?
No, he was not supposed to be there. He was supposed to be there a couple months ago.
Yeah,
but
I remember
because he got subpoenaed. And instead of showing up, he went up to the stairs, the front of
made his little statement, boo-hooing.
Yep, front of Congress and boo-hooed and all this stuff, and he's not going to go. But he shows up now to his hearing. There was just last month that he said he would only testify at a public hearing. Well, guess what, Hunter? You don't get to choose if it's a public hearing or it's closed door. At a public hearing, they got people firing off 5 minutes at a time, back and forth, the Republicans and Democrats. That's what he wanted. You don't get to choose. This isn't up to you. Donald Trump didn't get to choose, okay? Pete Navarro didn't get to choose, and Steve Bannon didn't get to choose. They didn't follow a subpoena. They're looking at jail time. Why is this any different with Hunter Biden? I digress. We've touched on this before. But he decided to show up at Capitol Hill Wednesday, and he walked in like he was the king of the castle and sat down there with his lawyer, Abby Lowe. And then it went off the rails a little bit. Nancy Mace lost her mind on him. We're going to get to that in the next segment. Lost her absolute mind. And then at some point, the heat got a little too hot for Hunter Biden. This is when Marjorie Taylor Greene came in. And, yeah, Hunter Biden made an abrupt exit out of there. And then he got questioned. And we're going to play some of those questions for you from the press when we come back here on the El Donzo and Dees show. I'm El Donzo.
I'm Dees.
And we were talking about Hunter Biden showing up to the congressional hearing about him being held in contempt of Congress. And he walked in. It kind of reminds me of that song. You walked into the party like you were walking on to a yacht. What's that song? You're So Vain, right? You're So Vain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Carly Simon.
You probably think this beer is about you. Yeah, Carly Simon. That's it. You're So Vain. That's Nancy Mace said this great, and I'm going to play a clip right now. This is one that I had to get during the break because I didn't have it ready. I didn't think about grabbing it, but I got it now. We're going to play. This is Nancy Mace. She does the, we'll call it the opener for Hunter Biden's appearance. Roll clip.
Congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman...
If the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Because you keep interrupting me.
Now, that got a little out of control, but she started out with saying that he was the epitome of white privilege for just showing up like this and flaunting himself. Now, it got even better. So they decided to let Marjorie Taylor Greene do her little line of questioning. And if anybody knows Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a fan of the Bidens. Would you agree with that?
I'd say that's an understatement.
That's an affirmative, sir! So anyway, let's listen to what Marjorie Taylor Greene... Now, there's not much here. But when she starts talking, he gets up and bolts. And watch the video. When he bolts, he bolts. He grabs his lawyers, and out they go, and they start hustling off. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Roll clip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa!
Oh. I'd like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
Wow, that's too bad.
So what an idiot going in there trying to flaunt his... Because he thinks he's bulletproof. All these Bidens, Jim Biden, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, they all think they're bulletproof. Now, it didn't end there, folks, but wait, there's more. You say, El Donzo, how can it get any better? Right? How can it get any better, right, Dees? This is one of the first ones. First questions a reporter asked him as he came out. And I was actually surprised. Now, a lot of people pick this guy apart because, well, that's not very substantive, and you could ask him better questions. I thought it was proper. And Dees, listen to this, and you tell me if you think this question is proper for Hunter Biden and the predicaments that he's put himself in. Roll clip. This is a journalist, okay, as Hunter Biden's coming out of this hearing, asking him this question. This is not a joke.
Quiet and let me make a statement, okay? What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden?
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden? Now, if that's not on its face, what do you think about that, Dees? I mean, what kind of type? Well, there's let's see, there's crack cocaine, which is crack cocaine is crack. There's freebasing. Can you inject crack?
The crack is crack.
How many different kinds of crack
is cocaine. You can inject it. There's one kind of crack.
Okay,
and
now
it's crack. Like there's no, they don't have brands.
There's no in between. Okay, yeah, I don't know. No. I don't know what kind of crack. Maybe this guy didn't. Maybe that's why he's asking the questions. And then we have this gem. I can't remember this journalist's name, but this was pretty good. This is one where he replies, "It's dangerous. You're dangerous. Whatever. You can't hear it, but here we go. We're gonna roll clip, and this is another journalist right here."
if he had nothing to do with your business? You put him on speakerphone multiple times to talk to your business partners. Why did you do that?
Are you on crack cocaine? So they're going after him pretty good at this point. Like I said, once again, when it comes down to this was their hearing on whether to hold him in contempt of Congress, he can be literally arrested and he should be thrown in jail.
Should have been thrown in jail a long time ago.
He should have been thrown in jail a long time ago. I mean, I agree with that. It just goes to show you how blatant these people are getting right now with the criminality. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? We have Taiwan, we have China wanting to reunify with Taiwan. We have Xi Jinping came out just a couple weeks ago. It came out, excuse me, not him. He didn't come out of the closet. Xi Jinping's not gay to my knowledge. But it came out that Xi Jinping told Joe Biden that there was pretty much no way around the fact that China was going to reunify Taiwan. Now, when you look at all the shady business dealings and fooly monkey shines that have gone on between the Bidens and the Chinese, what makes you think that the Bidens won't just give Taiwan to China? Remember this?
Who's to say they won't and haven't?
Exactly. This is another thing we've talked about. There is a reason that these foreign countries, specifically our adversaries, have been putting these people in compromising predictions. We're going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, but do you think Jeffrey Epstein was the first person to get politicians or high-up people or the elites and put them in compromising positions and get dirt on them?
Mm-hmm.
No, the answer is absolutely not. He was not the first one to come up with this.
No.
This was absolutely out of the Chi-Com playbook. It's out of the Russian playbook. Just the extent to which these people, I wouldn't say go, but allow themselves to get wrangled into these things. And the American people sit by and go, well, there's no way this is happening. Well, there's no way. They can't be bought. They can't be bought by a foreign country. I got news for you. They're all bought by foreign countries. Now, if you want to talk about crooked, we talked about this thing going down in Georgia where they're trying to get Donald Trump and, of course, Rudy Giuliani and all these other guys on his team in the RICO Act, which is funny because we talked about Rudy Giuliani. The first person to actually get mobsters and throw them behind bars in New York in the late 90s was Rudy Giuliani, and he used the RICO Act. It's kind of funny that the RICO Act is now being used in Georgia against America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. Now, they're trying to use it against Trump, too. Now, here's a kicker, though. Fani Willis, the AG, the Georgia AG, okay, who's a big-time liberal, right, big fan of Joe Biden's, she hired this guy named Nathan Wade as a prosecutor in this case. Fani Willis, Nathan Wade. AG hires a prosecutor to do this. Well, that's not unheard of now, is it? That's how things go. Now, here's the thing, though. Fani Willis is screwing Nathan Wade. They're having an affair. They were having an affair before this started. So Fani Willis hires Nathan Wade to prosecute Donald Trump. $650,000 a year is what she's paying him. She's paid him $650,000, which is way more than any other prosecutor would get in a case like this.
It's good work if you can get it.
Yeah, good work if you can get it, right? Did you know that he once charged Georgia for 24 hours straight for pretrial and do this and do that? 24 hours straight. Now, he's banging the attorney general. Doesn't something seem off here, Deez? Doesn't something seem a little crooked to you?
Yeah, it would definitely seem so.
Now, in addition to that, they were taking vacations together. So she's paying him over $500,000 a year. He's taking her out, taking her on vacations, buying her all this stuff.
With the money that she's paying him.
With the money that she's paying him. Now, there's speculation, and I agree with it. I hope this comes true. Any logical thinking person would go this route, that this can actually get the case thrown out. Because now remember, this is the most important case against Donald Trump, in my opinion. The one with Letitia James in New York isn't going to go anywhere. I mean, there's a potential that he gets fined, but it's not going to go anywhere. Then you got the J6 thing and all this other stuff, and Kurt. He can get himself out of that. Any federal prosecution, even if he gets convicted, as long as he gets reelected or somebody, a Republican, gets reelected, they can pardon him for that. He can't pardon his way out, and nobody can with this Georgia deal. And this is a witch hunt from the word go. There's nothing about... They're trying to say that he was trying to coerce Brad Raffensperger and these guys into swaying the election, which is not true at all. He never tried to get anybody to sway the election. He didn't try to use false electors, as they say. This is a witch hunt. If you look at how many times he's been indicted and how many cases are against him, this is your classic example of going after your political opponent, not to mention the fact that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis met up with Joe Biden before this even started and orchestrated this. So yeah, I hope they throw both of them in jail. This is the Aldonzo and D Show on City, and the Aldonzo and D Show does not pander to black listeners. We hope we have listeners of all colors on the show, but we don't pander to anybody, do we, D's?
No,
we don't. But you know who does? It's Joe Biden.
Nuh-uh.
No. Did you know Joe Biden just Monday was in South Carolina at a black church? Now, why would he be at a black church campaign? Oh, that's because Donald Trump's support amongst African Americans is almost 30%. That's probably why he's in a black church right now. But you know what? He did something that was kind of funny. And you know how Joe Biden likes to, weave these tales of these grandiose things that he's done, right? Like when he got locked in a African prison when he went to support Nelson Mandela. You remember this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was Corn Pop. And as most of these stories revolve around black people. I think it's kind of funny. Well, he came up with a doozy this week. He came up with a doozy on Monday. He listed involvement in the civil rights movement, okay, at the Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston. And this is what he had to say. And I want you to listen to this, and I want you to tell me what you think about it. And roll clip.
I was talking downstairs. I've spent more time in the Bethel AME Church in Wilmington, Delaware, than I have than most people I know, black or white, have spent in that church. Because that's where I started. No, I'm serious. I started a civil rights movement. I used to go to 7:30 Mass, then I'd go to 10 o'clock.
Did you hear that? He said he's serious, which means he's lying. And then I'm going to rewind it real quick. Let's listen to that again. Listen real closely what he says.
No, I'm serious. I started a civil rights movement. I used to go to 7:30 Mass, then I'd go to 10 o'clock service with the Reverend who was then running the church, is now the bishop. She's a bishop, and I'm told your bishop had been there before in South Africa. That's where he is right now. The point is that I've been blessed to worship here before as well.
Now, did you hear he said he started the civil rights movement? Did you hear that?
I didn't hear I heard Could have been. Either way, yeah.
Yeah, he said he started the civil rights movement. He couldn't, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, he could not start a weed eater, all right? And not just now. He never could. All right, he's always been a shill. He's never started anything. He's followed. That's all that Joe Biden has ever done. He's only followed. Speaking of that, CNN just came out with the inaugural road to 270 electoral votes. And right now, at this current moment in time, it shows that Trump is going to clinch the presidential nomination. Now, anything can change.
And will.
Would you? Yeah, absolutely. And will. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about these polls before and how much the polls can change and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and the people in them can change and most likely will change.
Now, I got a question. Did you see that Bill Clinton, old Slick Willie himself, Mr. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky, was visiting Gavin Newsom this week?
Yeah, they were playing golf in Mexico.
What in the hell was Bill Clinton doing playing golf with Gavin Newsom in Mexico?
Exactly what I told you he was doing.
And what's that? Grooming him?
Yeah, prepping him.
Grooming him? I would have to...
Telling him the super top secret plan.
I would have to agree with you at this point. I think it's a very good possibility that one or the other, or maybe both in some capacity, are going to be involved in the presidency, and that's Gavin Newsom and Michelle Obama. What a ticket that would be. What do you think?
I definitely think Gavin. I'm not so sure about Michelle, but...
Well, she's a woman, and she's black. You're checking off a lot of boxes there. And she's liberal. I'm just saying.
Is she?
He Michael Obama?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like to believe.
I mean, I won't rule it out, but I don't see her. There was speculation that she would run for president. I don't see that. I could see them picking her as a running mate. That wouldn't be a super shock, but at the end of the day, I don't think she'll be the pick. But again, it wouldn't, floor me if it was.
So I don't want to be lost on this, but something that we cannot forget to get to is this Lloyd Austin thing, the Secretary of Defense. Did you hear about this? He was out of commission for about a week. Did you hear about this, Deez?
Yeah, didn't know where he was. Turned out he had surgery, and then to come out he has prostate cancer.
Biden didn't know where he was.
Biden doesn't know where he is.
No, but nobody in the government knew where he was. They didn't know he was out. Even his deputy defense secretary didn't know at first. And she was on a beach, I think it was in Puerto Rico, calling the shots, and nobody knew it. We've got 3 or 4 wars flaring up in the world right now. The defense secretary is having his prostate whacked out of his system, because that's why I guess he's got his prostate cancer. Mm-hmm. And he didn't. I got a question for you, Deez. If you had a guy working for you, wasn't even a high-up guy, wasn't even a manager, you had a business, and the guy's working for you, he doesn't call in, and he's gone for days at a time, what do?
No call, no show, no job.
Yeah. Well, that's not what happened here. He didn't let Biden know. He didn't say anything to say, hey, I'm going to into the hospital, I'm going to be out, she's going to be taking over for me. Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Maybe he was out of paid time off. I don't know.
In the federal government, I don't really know how that would work, but check this out. So he's a 6th in line of presidential succession and the 2nd in line of military command after Biden. He was hospitalized, and his deputy was required to step in from a beach in Puerto Rico where she was on vacation. So, Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks was carrying out his duties while kept in the dark, according to the Pentagon's current version of events. Sasha Baker, the Defense Department's top policy official and the most senior official present at the Pentagon during that time, attended a meeting at the White House on January 3rd, unaware that Austin was hospitalized. Missing in action. Can you believe this, Sticks? Like, how much more messed up could this administration get? Where's Austin at? I don't know. Well, he's only the 2nd in charge of the military. I don't know where he's at. Hey, what's going on in Ukraine? I don't know. What's going on in China? I don't know. Call Austin. We don't know where he's at. It's like, where's Waldo with the Defense Secretary of the United States? Oh, boy. CL Donzo and D Show will be back for the 2nd hour right after these commercial massages.